Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have breaking news. The FAA has confirmed a small business jet crashed at the Bangor International Airport earlier tonight. Our Connor Magliozzi is there at the airport and has been following this developing situation. Connor joins us now. What can you tell us? What is the latest?
Hey, Morgan. So Bangor International Airport is closed, and they're asking people to avoid the area following a plane crash earlier tonight. Now, the FAA has confirmed to us that a Bombardier Challenger 600 aircraft, which is a private jet, crashed. It was taking off at around 7:45 tonight. Now, we understand that there were 8 people on board during the time of the crash. Now, currently, we do not know the status of anybody who was on that aircraft. Now, first responders have said that they are going to be on scene here for the next several hours. And the airport has told us that they have set up an emergency operations center that has been established, and they expect to be releasing additional details by about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, we're going to try and update all of you at home the second we learn a little bit more. But, Morgan, in the meantime, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
If you're just joining us, we're continuing to cover the plane crash that the FAA says happened at the Bangor Airport earlier this evening. Officials are also asking people to avoid the area around the airport if possible. They say first responders are still working at the scene of the airport. This is a picture that was sent to us earlier this evening from an anonymous source who was at the airport earlier. Now, the FAA did send us a statement saying a Bombardier Challenger 600 crashed while taking off from the airport around 7:45 this evening.
Things are not business as usual, as you said, just because reports came in last night that a business jet did crash here at around 7:45 p.m. So the airport is closed, and so is the runway, as the airport officials say that crews will continue to work on the scene, and the FAA and the TSB are investigating. Good morning, Joy. Yes, as you can see, the weather conditions are pretty rough out here. It is very windy, and the snow is continuing to come down. And, you know, the Bangor International Airport officials did say that they were planning to have crews working on the scene of the crash throughout the night into this morning. And I'm sure that visibility is not helping them in this case. Now, I will say that information is limited at this moment, but here is some video of the scene last night.
All traffic is stopped on the field. All traffic is stopped on the field. Moxie, continue taxiing to the ramp.
Aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down.
Crash, 6-4, proceed on the airport. The airport's yours. The airport is closed.
And again, that was audio that was happening just 2 minutes after the plane was cleared for takeoff. We do know at this point that the airport does remain closed. The plane that was involved in the crash is a small business jet. That is a live look at the airport as we await an update from Bangor International Airport and other officials.
We appreciate your understanding and patience regarding the incident, and ask that you continue to respect the privacy of those involved in this incident. Once the FAA and the NTSB are on site, we will work together with them to provide additional information as soon as that becomes available.
Empty TSA line here at the Bangor Airport tonight because the airport is closed and will be for the next 24 hours, will be till tomorrow, Tuesday. We know that airport officials say everyone on that private jet died when it crashed during the snowy weather here at the airport last night. Now, an airport spokesperson says that according to the flight manifest, 6 people were on the Bombardier Challenger business jet when it crashed on takeoff at the airport. Now, that's an update. It differs from the preliminary report released earlier in the day from the FAA. The airport official says that both federal and state agencies are investigating, and they say that it's important not to release any information until all parties have completed their work and can confirm that information. The identities of those on board have not been released. The plane is registered to a limited liability corporation in Houston, and that's according to federal records.
Emergency protocols were immediately activated, and first responders were on scene in under a minute. In addition to the Maine Air National Guard initial response with their fire and rescue vehicles, the Bangor Fire Department and approximately 10 other municipalities responded to the scene.
And we talked to a traveler today who was supposed to fly out of Bangor last night. Here's what they had to say.
When we left, we went to get de-iced, and that failed the first time because the wings didn't pass, so the pilot said they were going to try one more time. But the second time, he came across and said that there was an accident in the airport and that the airport was closing and we were going to go back to landing and get off the plane. I didn't feel anything on that plane, but my girlfriend, who was going to the Tampa to board next, they could feel some kind of bump or like the floor moved and everything, but they didn't know what happened.
And we still haven't found out what happened when the plane crashed last night. We are still waiting for more information. With that, airport officials are advising travelers to keep checking in with their airlines if they were set to fly today or tomorrow. They say the airport is expected to be closed until noon tomorrow. That was at last check. However, that is subject to change. Now, we know the FAA, according to Bangor airport officials, they say the FAA is on site, and the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, they are expected to arrive at some point here to Bangor, and we'll bring you more information with the latest details as they become available, and we'll have more from here at the airport, Brittany, throughout this evening. Back to you.
Officials have provided updates to a crash that killed multiple people at Bangor International Airport last night. We went over to the airport today to get the latest. 6 people have been confirmed dead after a private plane crashed at Bangor International Airport Sunday night. As of right now, the identities of those on board have not been released. According to federal records, the plane is registered to a limited liability corporation in Houston. According to an airport official, the response at the time of the crash was rapid.
Emergency protocols were immediately activated, and first responders were on scene in under a minute. In addition to the Maine Air National Guard initial response with their fire and rescue vehicles, the Bangor Fire Department and approximately 10 other municipalities responded to the scene.
The airport is currently expected to be closed until Wednesday at noon, but that could be subject to change. We spoke to a traveler today who was supposed to fly out of Bangor last night.
When we left, we went to get de-iced, and that failed the first time because the wings didn't pass, so the pilot said they were going to try one more time. But the second time, he came across and said that there was an accident in the airport and that the airport was closing and we were going to go back to landing and get off the plane. I didn't feel anything on that plane, but my girlfriend, who was going to the Tampa to board next, they could feel some kind of bump or like the floor moved and everything, but they didn't know what happened.
Airport officials advise travelers to keep checking in with their airlines for updates. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are currently investigating the crash.
Officials with Bangor International Airport say investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board are now in Bangor to determine the cause of Sunday night's plane crash that left 6 people dead.
Jack McGuire is at the airport for us tonight. He joins us now with the latest. Jack.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, well, Bangor International Airport is extending its current closure until Thursday at 9 a.m. at the very earliest. Now, keep in mind, the airport has been closed since the crash on Sunday night. Now, this extended closure is allowing officials to continue their investigation into what happened here Sunday night. What we do know is that the Bombardier CL-600 crashed around 7:45 p.m. after takeoff. The plane had arrived in Bangor from Houston, Texas, and was heading to Paris when it crashed. Bangor International says the plane stopped to fuel up and get de-iced. Of the 6 people on board, 4 were passengers and 2 of them were flight crew. All are presumed dead right now, but according to an update from the airport this afternoon, the Bangor Police Department is awaiting approval from the NTSB to access the aircraft. At that point, they'll be able to care for and identify the victims with help from the state medical examiner. In the meantime, the NTSB has asked that the scene be preserved. Now, the NTSB and FAA are expecting additional personnel here at the airport within the next 24 to 48 hours. So as updates continue to roll in, we will keep our eyes open and our ears open. I'll send it back to you guys.
After a fatal plane crash at Bangor International Airport, Bangor's airport director held a press conference this afternoon. Sierra Dubois was at the press conference and joins us now. Sierra, what did you learn?
Thank you so much, Brittany. Yeah, things are very quiet here at the Bangor International Airport since it's been closed since Sunday, since that fatal plane crash that claimed the lives of all 6 people on board. Like you said, we did hear from the airport director earlier this afternoon, Jose Saavedra, regarding the investigation and how that's going. So let's break things down for you. Bangor PD and fire have been monitoring the airfield, making sure that the scene is preserved, and that was an order from the NTSB. However, weather conditions have impacted the flow of the investigation and actually halted some of the process. Speaking of that, Saavedra confirmed 6 members of the NTSB are now here working on the scene, but they are still waiting for members to arrive. And of course, the weather isn't helping there either, but Saavedra couldn't confirm the number of NTSB members that they are waiting for. We asked Saavedra earlier what the protocol is when a scene is being investigated in this scenario where identities are still unconfirmed.
Once we were in contact with the NTSB asked that the scene be preserved and until their arrival and the main medical examiner. The scene is still under investigation. Right now, as we speak, the NTSB, the FAA, the state medical examiner, Bangor Police, Bangor Fire Department, the Maine National Guard, the Maine Army National Guard are working on the scene.
Now, Saavedra did say that the NTSB will release their preliminary report on the investigation within 30 days. However, the final findings still could take about 12 to 24 months. And I want to reiterate that they are still waiting for some of the members on that team to arrive here in Bangor. The NTSB did clear for plows to start working on parts of the runway when it comes to reopening operations here at the airport, which they are expecting to do by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. They are actually holding an internal briefing this evening. Saavedra did not say the time that was going to take place, but that will shed more light if they can continue those operations. But they are advising any travelers who are still here in Bangor waiting to fly out to continue to check with their airlines for updates. Back to you, Brittany.
All right, Sierra Dubois reporting live for us in Bangor tonight. Thank you very much for the update.